Hi there, time for a sew along. I have made this dress 3 or 4 times at this point, and I thought I would do a sew along today because I want to make another one. This dress is McCall's 7349 with some modifications, right? So the simple pattern is easy to do and also very easy to modify. So today I'm going to do 3 modifications. The first being these sleeves, elastic, and I've made them extra wide at the bottom so that they're a little more fun. The second modification is the pockets. These are inseam princess pockets with a little bit of a cuff. And the third modification I'm going to do is just to add extra volume at the skirt part by just making the pattern a little bit longer. And the fabric I'm going to use is stripes. It's going to be fun. So why don't you come along and let's start with looking at the pattern pieces themselves. There are 5 pattern pieces associated with this project. Here we are getting ready to cut. I have 5 yards of this fabric. It's 60 inches wide. You can do this pattern with as little as 4 yards, but you just won't be able to get the volume that I showed you earlier. Because this fabric is so long, what I do is I bundle it on top of a little table so that it doesn't pull when I lay it out like this. What we have right here is the back middle. This piece requires no alteration, so I fold over the fabric to give myself, I guess I could have done a better job, but I tried to use as little fabric as possible, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and cut. We're done with this piece. This is the front, and what I've done is definitely make sure you remember to cut your notches. I just do a little cut just like that to mark my notches. Also, since this is the front, I just put a little clip there. You can use a needle or a pin, and then I take it off and put that pattern piece away. This is the back middle. I continue down the same side because that side is going to be used for the sides. So you have a lot of material left over still if you've got 60 inches. Same thing, this pattern piece will be cut out exactly as it is. So let me go ahead and do that. A quick note on matching stripes. I do not match. You don't need to in this pattern, especially because you couldn't really do a good job anyway. So don't worry about matching. Now it's time to do the side front. I have it laid out here and I've got a lot of empty space there, which is great because the top part, my sleeves are going to be cut out of that. The bottom part, I'm going to flare out. I place the pattern as far over to the left as possible to give myself lots of room over here for my flares and my sleeves. What I also did is doubled over the fabric this way instead of this way. So this is 2 layers. I've started to cut this side panel out and I'd like to just talk to you about how I did that. First, what I did, since this is the front panel, I measured down here 12 inches. This is where my pocket is going to start. And then from there, I measured a further 9 inches. And this is where my pocket is going to end. So I can cut this pattern piece out normally all the way around, except where my pocket ends. And I like doing that because I like this part fitted on the top and the pocket also. Now is the fun part. We're adding our flare. And in order to do this, we're just going to extend the bottom of the hem all the way out to where it ends right here at the end of the fabric. Here's an important measurement you need. I get these construction rulers. This is really great because it's solid metal and it doesn't flip around. What you need to do is that's where my pocket is ending right up there. See that? I measure all the way down to here. That's 24 inches. 24 inches from my bottom of my pocket. So then what I'm going to do is go ahead and mark. This 24 inches is sort of the radius of my circle, right? So I'm going to put a pin right here, 24 inches. Kind of hard to do with one hand. And then I'm going to have just to get an idea of the curve that I want to cut, right? Another 24 inches here. And then let's just make sure that you have that lined up properly. Okay, so that's good. And the final marker will come at the very end here. Let's see how much fabric I can get. So right about there, another 24 inches. So when I cut my flare, I'm gonna follow along this line, curving as much as possible, so that all you have to do is cut along, make it a little curved, all the way up here till you get here, and then you're just gonna shoot in a straight line all the way back there. So that's what it looks like. Now, I admit it looks a little bit funny because of the stripes, right? Yeah. I think when it folds down though, it'll be okay. I think it'll look really fun. And this huge amount of fabric can be used for the sleeves or something else, but let's go ahead and cut out the back. Remember, we are gonna start the back at the same place, so that you have to measure down 12 plus 9 inches, and that's where you start your flare as well. Hey, that looks kind of cute. Getting the back pattern piece out of the remaining fabric is going to be a bit tricky. So what I had to do is I put a single layer out of the fabric and then took my front piece, because the front piece is pretty much identical at the bottom. So you can see, here's my flare. I have enough for one side, and then I flipped it over and turned it. And here's where I'm going to start the second piece. And I have enough for the flare going down the side. So I can do this. And here is the back pattern piece all cut out. Don't worry about putting a clip in there. You leave your clips in the front piece so you know where your pockets go. Make sure you do clip your markers there so you can fit everything together. But now we're done with the dress, and it's on to the sleeves. So for the sleeve pattern, what I did is I found my biggest scrap, the widest, because I want to add some more volume to the bottom of the sleeve. So here it is, right in the middle. And then what I'm gonna do is cut the top of the sleeve out normally, double layered. I'm gonna stop right here where you have that triangle, because that's where I'm gonna start my volume right there. So the top of the sleeve will be normal fit. The bottom of the sleeve will be more voluminous. All right, so then I have cut the top of the pattern all the way around just like normal. Do not forget to do your notches. Notches are most important on sleeves so that you know the back double notch and the front single notch. I stopped right here. See that? And then all I'm gonna do is take a ruler and line that ruler up with that edge right there to the corner. And now before I did that, I should point out that I measured the same distance from here to down here. And in my case, that's 8 inches. So then all I'm gonna do is place the ruler here and take my circular cutter and cut all the way down to the corner. And that's what my sleeve pattern looks like. This is the front side panel. So what we need to do now is to make that pocket. What we want to do first is, you remember we put in these markers, that's where your pocket is going to go. I grabbed some paper. I've got some tracing paper. You can use wrapping paper or whatever you need. I'm just going to make a little outline of the pocket. So that's what we have roughly. All right, there is your pocket panel. Looks kind of funny, right? Well, let's see how it'll look on the skirt, dress. So this will fit nicely right in here between my two markers. And then I'll sew a seam right here. All right, here we have the top seam and the bottom seam. We're gonna do the cuff. To do the cuff, what you do is you fold down the whole cuff part. You fold up so that your hemline is above the line for your cuff. You flip over and you fold this down and pin it. Then you're going to sew across here so that you have a nice little cuff. Okay, we've attached the pocket. I think it kind of looks fun, horizontal. The next step is to grab your middle front piece, you know, the one that we put that clip on, and match it up because we are ready to sew the front two pieces together. I've clipped right sides together all the way down. Here's where the pocket is. You just clip right over that. I snipped off the cuff that was sticking out, so I'm just gonna sew all the way down the front panel. We have finished the front panel of the dress. The middle and the two sides are on with the pockets. I just need to press this and do the exact same with the back panel. All right, here's the back. Front panel, two side panels, and the crazy swish I put in. I guess I should mention that I've never tried quite a long extension like this, so I really hope it works out. What we're gonna do next is to put the front panel right on top of this. Here's one side pinned together. It sort of worked. Somehow I didn't measure correctly, but I don't care too much about that because I have so much extra length at the bottom. That's actually the bottom of the skirt. So now all I'm gonna do is sew the two panels together, front and back, on both sides. And here is what everything looks like put together. This is a really full skirt. I love the way this turned out. And the horizontal pockets with the vertical stripes. This is an amazing amount of fullness. The next step is to sew the sleeve together at the bottom. I just clipped it in here and I realized down here, I need this to be flat. So I'm gonna chop off a bit of that. I took off this corner so that when I make the hem, it'll be even and then it'll be easier to insert the elastic. So I am gonna sew all the way down here next. To do the hem at the bottom of the sleeve, I just fold over twice so that it's about 1/2 inch. The elastic I'm gonna use is about 1/4 inch. So do that all the way around. This is how I do my elastic. I always have my channel close to the seam because the seam can get tough to go through. So I want to do that up front in case I need to do a little finessing around that. I take a safety pin. I don't cut anything yet. See how I have it all still on the roll? I'll show you why in a minute. So you put the end through a safety pin. Take your safety pin. See, I have to wiggle through that seam area. I just keep going all the way around and out the other side. The benefit of keeping all of this elastic is you don't have to worry about losing this piece in the sleeve because it's just so long you're never going to lose it. The second benefit is that I find that measuring after the elastic is in your garment is actually easier. You get a better fit because the fabric has a bit of a weight to it too. So what I'm going to do is just stretch it around. I do a quick check to see how it feels around my wrist. This feels pretty good. And then I don't even sew this. What I do is I tie 3 knots. That's so much easier than taking this back to the sewing machine. 1 and 3. And then all I do is I just snip it. It's time to attach the sleeves. Here are some pointers. This is the side seam here. These are the side panels and these are the middle panels. Make sure you have your fabric set up like this. Pay attention to your notches. This is the double notch for the back, the single notch for the front. Take your sleeve, right sides together. Very important, not this way. Flip it over this way because you are lining up this side with this notch and this side with the front notch. Then we are going to sew all the way around like that and you'll have an armhole. The sleeves are put in. I have 2 more steps. The first step is to put in the neckline. I do not use the pattern piece. Instead, I just take a flexible measuring tape and measure around that neckline. And this is about 27 or 28 inches. And then what I do is I test my fabric to see how stretchy it is, how far I can comfortably stretch it. This fabric has a lot of stretch in it. So if I stretch it comfortably, about 27 inches right there, and then let it rest again, I can see I only actually need 24 inches of this, because when you put collars in, you stretch them out so that they lay flat. Fold the collar in half, baste it together, and then sew it together. Let's go ahead and do that. Next time you see me, I'll be wearing this dress. Ta-da! Here is the final result. What do you guys think? I really like it personally, but I love these dresses. They are so comfortable. This is a great pattern, and it is easy to hack. Let's just remember what 3 hacks I did with this. The first one was the sleeves. I made them longer and fuller and put in some elastic. I prefer this type of sleeve. You can easily put them up with the elastic, or you could wear them down. Love it. The second hack I did was the pockets. Now you notice they're kind of low. I think I usually have them around my waist, so I mismeasured. If you're trying this, make sure you measure where your waist is, because that's really where the pockets are supposed to start. I can still get my hands in them, so they still work. And then let's go on to that final thing I did, which was something I haven't tried before, adding so much volume. I feel it looks like a trumpet, right? You know how you have trumpet sleeves? This is a trumpet skirt, and it's almost a full circle skirt, right? Just at the bottom. So this is really, really fun. And there is a lot of swish and swirl, and I hope I am doing it justice, but this has got to be my favorite pattern hack of this pattern. What do you think? What was your favorite?